Today on the vlog, this is Winter Jam. And yes, he's coming right at me.
Hello and welcome back to the vlog. My name is Tyler and I'll again be your host. Today we will be doing things a little bit different. Today we're going to get into a review of a documentary called This is Winter Jam. I just picked this up last night, watched it a few minutes ago, and so I want to get into just a brief review of that. I don't want to get too far in depth because I'll say this, when it comes to Christian things, I tend to be very, I try to keep it simple. I don't try to overview it. I don't try to get too much into it because the main message for most Christian movies, Christian songs, whatever it might be, is to point to Jesus, which is great. It's awesome. And so if you don't like that, then you're not going to like the movies. But if you do like things pointing to Jesus, then you're probably going to enjoy it. So let's just get that out of the way. Now, This is Winter Jam is all about the tour of Winter Jam that happens every single year in January and a little bit, I think, into February and a little bit into March as well. But it's 10 bands that travel across the United States of America, mostly in the Eastern Hemisphere or the Eastern, not hemisphere, but the Eastern part of the country during the winter, and then I'm not sure when they do the West because I'm not a part of the West. So I have gone to Winter Jam for the past 4 years, and if you want more about my experience with Winter Jam, you can go ahead and go to my last video that I just posted, all about, my experience with Winter Jam this year and kind of a little bit about my experiences with it and what I like about it. So looking at this DVD by itself, it's both a documentary and also musical performances. And so they do whole and complete songs while also going into the history of Winter Jam and going into in depth about why they're doing it, what's going on, what is the purpose of it, and what their goals are. And so I felt like at points the documentary stuff was fantastic. They get into the history a lot. They get into, why they got started, what was the causes of it, and simple little things that really help them and to be encouraged to keep going. And so at other points, it felt like some of the musical choices that they did, I didn't really think fit. I didn't think that, they should have gotten into that stuff, I don't want to go into specifically which ones I liked and which ones I didn't like, but there are a couple that I felt like, okay, I get why you're showing this, but I just don't think you should be showing it, is the best way to put it. The other thing is that some of the documentary stuff, it felt a little off. They spent a lot of time on topics that I felt like, why are you delving into this so much? Like they talked about pyrotechnics for a little bit, and I felt like, okay, it's cool to mention it, but let's get more into the actual history. I mean, yes, I get what you're going for, but I don't like that. Just move on to into the other aspects, please. Like let's move beyond this. And it's hard for me to say because it was talking about my favorite band, but it felt like it wasn't needed. And so I think that's what my struggle was during this, was that there are things that personally I felt like they had things in there that weren't actually needed. They had things in there that kind of felt like they were kind of thrown in there because to just kind of add it into the runtime. But I'll say this, speaking as someone that used to work with youth and still partially do here and there, I do think it's a good tool for youth groups. Maybe a small section of that would be great for a message to use as an example of what is happening into this world and different ministry opportunities. So if you are a youth leader, youth pastor, youth whatever, children's person, Sunday school, it could be very useful to you. I'm sorry, I struggled with that word. It could be very useful for you. It could be a really good tool. That's honestly why I think I picked it up, other than the fact that God said you need to pick this up. So I think it could be a really good tool to be used. I think there's some good stuff, because honestly, and I said this in the other video, but I'll say it here too, really Winter Jam is geared towards teenagers. It's geared towards a young demographic, It's not geared towards people who are adults, in all honesty. It's not really geared towards those that have been, we'll say, deep Christians for a long time. What it's really geared towards is for those who are searching, who are struggling, who need to find answers. That's really who it's geared towards. Now, I'll say this. The Spirit doesn't care how long you've either been a Christian or not been a Christian. He still wants you there, and he will still be with you in those moments. And so, yes, Winter Jam is still for other people, but I'll say that by far the DVD itself, the documentary, is most useful for those youth people and for teenagers. So if you have teenagers, if you work with teenagers, whatever it might be, I recommend picking this up. It is on Amazon. I did find that out. And so it's not amazing. It's not horrible. It's just kind of like right in that middle of it's just right. It gets the message out without really revealing of what actually happens at these things. And also, if you watch all the way to the end, you'll be a little surprised, I think. And that's really where it could be a really good tool for you. And also, honestly, it could be just good for a church in general. If you need to have like a movie night, if you want to have an experience for people, this could be a great tool as well, just for churches in general. So I recommend it. So that's all I have for you for today. Please come back for more. Like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever you feel like doing. Bless your heart. So until next time, peace be with you.